Happen.
Yeah, we got like 80 something episodes, man.
I think this is going to end up being like 88 or something. I don't know.
That's what's up, man. Very exciting stuff
Very exciting stuff.
over in the zombie lab.
Zombie Lab, man, especially during October. This is the month. Halloween. So last time you were talking about 31 Days of Horror. What was it? 31 Days of Halloween or 31 Days of Horror?
31 Days of Halloween.
On AMC.
Yeah, AMC plays it, and also Freeform. I don't know if you've heard of that network.
I heard, yeah,
Freeform. Yeah, Freeform plays 31 Days of Halloween, like all the horror movies and horror flicks.
Yeah, especially
that's what we were talking about our last episode.
A little bit last episode. We didn't delve into it. Last episode was all about Below the Rim. This episode, let's dabble into Halloween. I mean, it's Halloween, it's October. Freeform. So there's a show. Man. There's a show on Freeform. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but a buddy of mine, I think, casts. He's like an agent for a lot of the actresses on the show called Motherland Fort Salem, and it's on Freeform. It's like a Freeform original, and it's about like militarized witches that are raised to fight a fucking government conspiracy. They're witches. I haven't watched it yet. It looks good though, but
that's pretty cool, man. That could be interesting.
I haven't watched it yet though. It's like, melding different genres, like making witches. I mean, hell, Scarlet Witch on MCU, apparently she's a witch, so she can cast spells and stuff like that. She's called the Scarlet Witch for a reason, and she's a superhero. So in this case, I guess they're taking that whole Fort Salem. Maybe they're offspring of the Salem witches that were they burned at the stake in Salem, Pennsylvania?
I believe so, something like that, something along those lines.
Or
maybe were they hung?
Or they were drowned. Were they drowned? It would help if I knew what the hell.
Yeah, we would have to confirm that.
Salem witch trials. Confirming now. Salem witch trials. Oh God.
Since you got like everything at your disposal,
Executed by hanging. Good job, dude.
Yeah. That's what I thought it was. Hanging.
Yeah.
That's what they did back in the day.
Well, apparently people didn't know how to swim back then. So like somebody learned how to swim and they drowned them because they thought the ability to swim was fucking witchcraft or some shit.
Yeah, or their ability to float or something bizarre. Then they're witches. Like if we throw them in the water and they float, they're witches or something. If they don't sink to the bottom
and they die, then
it was so stupid.
No shit.
Like their theory was so idiotic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was beyond just. I mean, back then, dude, Puritans, man. Puritans. I mean, there's this movie called The Witch, and it's spelled with 2 V's. So it's like spelled VVITCH, but really it's supposed to be The Witch. But I think it was based, so it takes place in Puritan days. I don't know what the fuck year that is. 1600s was Puritans. Well, when was the Salem witch trials? Yeah, okay, so late 1600s. 1692 was Salem witch trials. So I guess this movie, The Witch, takes place, 1690 something, 1680 something. Puritan.
You said it was on Freeform.
Well, The Witch, I don't know where that's on. Probably a number of streaming services. It was a huge independent hit, so it was like a huge.
Yeah, kind of like the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah,
it was like an indie film that like blew up.
Yeah, there's another one, man. Like genre redefining.
Didn't they make Blair Witch Project 2?
It was called. It was called The Blair Witch 2: The Book of Shadows. It was just called straight. It was straight up just called Blair Witch 2: Book of Shadows, as opposed to The Blair Witch Project. So.
Yeah, I remember that when that movie came out, The Blair Witch Project.
I saw that fucker in the theaters. It terrified me.
Dude. Yeah, it got a lot of buzz, man, that movie. Like
Yeah, the whole,
everybody saw that movie in the movie theater.
not to mention like the media hype. Like they really sold it like it was like this
Like it was a real thing.
Like it was a real thing. Yeah. They really fucking sold that well.
I mean, plus the way that they filmed it to make it that way.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the whole point, obviously. You know, it was like a found documentary footage, which just turned into this entire genre, the found footage film.
Which probably cost them like $20,000 to make.
60,000. So I recently found out some more information about this film. So they actually shot a short version of it, where I think they shot some of the wood scenes, and they compiled it together and did whatever, like a short 5-10 minute version of it. And back in like the mid and late 90s, IFC channel, you remember the IFC channel? You familiar with that? Yeah. So I think IFC and Sundance started their own channels on basic cable.
Dude, I love that channel. IFC.
Well, they had so the IFC channel had, well, IFC stands for Independent Film Channel, but IFC had a show on it. It was like, it spotlighted shorts, it spotlighted music videos. I don't know if they have it. I don't know if this series is on IFC anymore, but they submitted it to this show on IFC. IFC showed it and they liked it. And so they were somehow able to get a hold of $60,000 more to complete a feature-length version of the Blair Witch, and that's what they did. But the short version was shown on IFC, and they still managed to sell the whole hype behind it being real. Like they must have just paid people off to like be quiet or something. I don't know. NDAs left and right. I don't know. But it was already on the channel, the short version. So back then you didn't have the internet. Back then it was like, yo, did you see that thing that was on IFC? What the hell was that thing called? You remember back in the day, if you saw something on cable, you really had to do some due diligence to track down a title of something. Like shit, early 90s and before, you might have to call the station. Yo, there was something on, like there was something on you had, and it ended around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What was that movie? And they would, like, you could call them and find out. But now you just hit pause and it'll have all the info, because no one's got who's got cable anymore? It's all streaming. Even cable. That's what's funny. Even cable is streaming to your cable box. It's not like broadcast.
And there's a variety of different apps that you can get, like Sling TV,
right?
Fubu,
right?
Those type of things, other than just your typical, just your Verizon, cable, whatever it is, Comcast. It was.
My mom is so regressive. My mom is so old school. She was like, we had her and my stepdad over, I think a couple of weekends ago. And she's like, I want to be able to watch Preakness. No, this was last weekend. And she's like, I want to be able to watch Preakness. Are we going to be able to watch Preakness on NBC on your TV? Because you don't have cable. I'm like, yeah, we'll be able to watch it. Yeah. And so, she comes over and so like I go on Hulu and I'm like, okay, add to my stuff, set to record. And she's like, oh, you can record it? And I'm like, boop, 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 boop. All right, it's all set. And so, we're watching it. And she's like, I want to watch the race again. They might show recaps. I'm like, oh, no, we don't have to watch recaps. And I just rewind it on Hulu because I was recording it. So just rewind it and play it again. Oh, my God, and she's like blown away by it. She still has, I guess it's digital cable now, but it's like basic digital cable,
She probably still has a cable box that had the A and B button on the joint. remember when you
not
had
that regressive. I remember the A and B button, but she's not. No.
Dude, remember you used to have to record off the VCR to record it, then you had that button that you hit to pause the commercials, and it would like skip through them. Like we used to do that for the Super Bowl. We'd record all the
You'd have to stand at the TV. You didn't have a remote for that box. You have to stand on the TV and be like this. Okay. Hopefully it's a commercial-free channel like HBO.
And then they came out with remember they came out with the black box? Like
yeah, everybody was trying to get their shit chipped. Everybody was trying to get that little extra black box on top of their big cable box.
And then they got hip to it, man, because they were zapping the boxes.
Yep.
Like our cable box got zapped. But I mean, that was before like we stole cable for like 3 years.
Everybody was trying to steal cable, man. And everybody claimed like, yo, I can get you a black box. Every time I saw this guy, I would call him out. Hey, dude, I thought you were gonna get me a black box. Yo, man, I got you. I'm like, you're so fucking full of shit, dude. You're such a bullshit artist. Where's the black box, man? I got the money. Where's the black box?
Give the guy like $60 and it'll hook you up, like the cable guy, like Jim Carrey and the cable guy.
Cable guy. Speaking, hey, listen, the cable guy. That's a worthy Halloween pick. That movie was really fucking dark and kind of like a psychological thriller comedy, man. That was a really dark role for Jim Carrey, like right out the gate. Everybody was like, comedy. He was like, I want to kind of do this like really dark creepo role with for Ben Stiller, you know, and get kind of weird with Matthew Broderick over here, Ferris Bueller, man.
Yeah, that was a crazy movie, dude.
That was a great fucking movie, dude. And their whole spoof of the Menendez trial, I forget what the kids were called in the movie. Ben Stiller played twins.
Yeah.
And then in the movie, they did a TV movie where Eric Roberts played the twins.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious, dude. I love that movie. Like Ben Stiller really went on like this dark path with that movie. Like I want like dark comedy, man. Dark shit. There's on Hulu, there's a show called Monsterland. Huluween's real freaking cool, man. They got some bizarre titles on Huluween.
They show a lot of classics on there.
It depends. I mean, it all depends on like who's got rights to what now. But now, you know, you got Disney Plus, you got Peacock, you got HBO Max, which I don't know what network is owned by who, but HBO Max has like Friends on it. But then I think Friends is also going to be on Peacock. It's weird. But we just did the HBO add-on to Hulu because for some reason we were talking about Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's your jam, dude.
Dude, if you like Seinfeld, if you want to watch an R-rated Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm is one of the best TV shows on TV, on streaming. I mean, like Seinfeld's a classic. Like Seinfeld is Seinfeld and The Office and Friends, and yeah,
dude,
Seinfeld,
you would just binge watching Seinfeld, dude.
But now at this point, it's like one of those things you just fall asleep in front of, dude.
Like once a year, you do it.
I did, yeah. Because I remember you'd walk in, you're like, "What season you on?" I'm like, "I'm almost done with it again, dude. I'm almost done with it again." But that's before streaming. Yeah. So I had all the DVDs, and it would just be like, switch the fucking DVDs, switch out the fucking DVDs. But now Seinfeld's on Hulu, and you know, at this point in my life, I've seen Seinfeld so much. It's one of those shows that me and the wife, that's what we fall asleep in front of. It's either The Office or Seinfeld or Friends we fall asleep in front of. But Curb is still kind of fresh, and we want to pay attention to Curb. And Curb is so good. An R-rated Seinfeld, an R-rated follow-up to Seinfeld. It's fantastic. About the guy who created Seinfeld. Mm-hmm. But still, it's fictional. It's kind of like based loosely on his real life, but it's generally just fictional. Exaggerated. But yeah, so okay, so you got Freeform and you got 31 Days. What was the last horror movie you watched?
The last horror movie I watched was probably Nightmare on Elm Street.
Just recently?
Yeah, the fourth one.
Don't tell me. Dream Master?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
That was a good one.
Yep. It's Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, 4, Dream Master, 5, Dream Child, 6.
And then they went on a whole new series as well. Like I think after like the 2000s, like they started.
Well, you had 6, which was Freddy's Dead. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6, Freddy's Dead. And then 7 was A New Nightmare, which took place in the real world, but the film kind of took on a life of its own, and like Freddy kind of came out of the film because like Nancy played the actress played herself that played Nancy in the movie. Wes Craven was in it as himself. Robert Englund was in it as
himself. Yeah.
But then Freddy still somehow came out. It was a really cool idea at the time. I think it was a little too ahead of its time because people didn't really dig it, and maybe technology and budget and I don't know, maybe it was a little too ahead of its time. But for me, I dug it, man. It was cool as shit that they kind of like went that route. I don't think anybody else has done that, where the horror villain came out of the movie and like was haunting the cast and crew of the series of movies. And I think that was the last one. And then they did Freddy versus Jason, which in my opinion was fucking phenomenal. It was so good. It was so over the top, so ridiculous. They finally pulled the trigger. They said, listen, this might be a little too early, but we're doing it. We're doing it. Freddy versus Jason. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be stupid. It's going to be fun. They had a martial arts. They had a well-known Hong Kong martial arts director, a Chinese filmmaker, a Chinese director direct this. I think it was Justin Lin actually, who's he might actually be American born. Who the fuck did Freddy versus Jason? Justin Lin, who does like most of the Fast movies, Fast and Furious movies. Oh man, who the hell directed Freddy versus Jason? Because I know Freddy versus Jason, and then they try to like totally remake Nightmare on Elm Street. Ronnie Yu. So Ronnie, last name Y-U. Ronnie Yu.
Yeah, Ronnie Yu, and it was written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift.
Yeah, so Ronnie Yu.
And it was produced by Sean Cunningham.
Well, yeah, Sean Cunningham has always been attached to anything Jason Voorhees, anything Friday the 13th. But Ronnie Yu, he's most notable for like The Bride with White Hair, you know, Jet Li's Fearless, you know, like those mystical Hong Kong Chinese martial arts movies where they're always flying, and it's about like ghosts and goblins with you know, katana blades fighting, you know, the wire work. He's most notable for like all that wire work. You know, I don't think he did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but he's known for those type of movies.
Yeah, he did The Bride of Chucky.
He also did The Bride of Chucky, though. Yeah,
he did that movie as well.
Because the kinds of martial arts movies, the kind of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons he did in Hong Kong dealt with ghosts and goblins and demons. Like it was like supernatural, semi-horror martial arts. So of course, like why not? He came over here and he was like, I can pull off a Freddy versus Jason. That shit.
Yeah, he also directed Jet Li's Fearless.
Yeah, Fearless. Yeah.
In 2006, he did that movie. And then the bride with white hair, as you discussed earlier.
Yeah, Bride with White Hair 1 and 2. Yeah, I mean those are like ghosts and goblins / martial arts movies, man. Yeah. So, but yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was the last one. I mean, are you watching the series of Freddy's? Is that what you're doing?
No, just one just came on, but I'd like to watch all of them. You know, maybe something I can binge watch.
Hey, listen, I mean,
during Halloween.
Shudder's worth it. Shudder's worth the subscription indefinitely. I've been on Shudder watching a whole slew of shit. I think last roundtable we discussed this this documentary called In Search of Darkness. It's about all the 80s horrors. So yeah, all the Freddys were discussed. Most of the Jasons were discussed. You know, I mean, it's a fantastic. You know, they interview the directors, the writers, the cinematographers, the special effects people. You know, the cast. the cast and crew of the film, you know, and it's not always just the directors and, you know, the main stars. You got like the writers and the people that scored the film, or you have like film historians discussing these films. You have like the special makeup effects people that, you know, worked on these films and how they pulled off creatures and like The Thing, or you know, Freddy's gloves and mask and face and leather faces, you know, different faces, and how they pulled all this shit off. I mean, it's a really cool doc. But I mean, I just basically watched it and just took notes. Seen it. Okay, got to see it. Seen it. I got to see it, because I try to cheat and go on Wikipedia and just see the movies that they talked about, and they don't list that anywhere because they want you to watch the doc. But this documentary is 4.5 hours long. It took me like a couple days to watch. Like, I'd pause it and then you just go back and resume it. Again, dude, another beautiful goddamn thing about streaming versus the fucking cable box. You remember when like, yo, you remember once a year you'd get a free week of HBO?
Yeah.
You remember that?
I remember that.
I started pulling out VHSs. I was just like, record. I just started recording shit.
Yeah, it was
like,
a promo.
Oh yeah, dude. And they would give it a whole week HBO. Bro, I think it was 96. I was at we were at DeMatha. I don't know if I ever told you this story when we were in high school. It was about 96, and I think HBO gave us HBO gave us a free week of HBO just when I think it was Star Trek Deep Space Nine premiered. And my dad was like, I want you to record Deep Space Nine. And I thought I had it hooked. You know me with my studio, my broadcast center, and I got a computer plugged into another computer. I got 7 monitors and all that shit. So this is back in the day when I started experimenting with all that shit, where you could split the coaxial cable, you could split the cable, and you could jack it into different VCRs, and then do that RCA cable out. You could do different, and then so you got 2 cables going to 2 VCRs, and then you could do the RCA cables going to two different inputs into one TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was slick. So I was like, okay, I'll set the first VCR to the channel with Deep Space Nine. I'll set the second VCR to the channel at HBO, record both, and then I'll just watch. And then I'll watch something else, right? And for some reason, my tape worked and his tape didn't. He was so pissed. He goes, bro, I gave you I asked you to do one fucking thing. You fucked up. Oh, and to make matters worse, so, you know, unfortunately, family split. That's fine. Amicable, you know, peaceful, loving, you know, split or whatever. So I fucked up recording Deep Space Nine for him. Then I think like a year later, he recorded this show called The Winds of War. It was like a 20-night, 70-hour mini series on fucking World War II. And he recorded every single 2-hour episode of this fucking show. and so when my dad moved out, all these tapes were there. And so I'm like, I don't give a shit about this show, but we got another year, another free week of HBO. So I'm popping these. You remember you would put the little Scotch tape over the record thing? And I just started popping his tapes in and recording, you know, movies that I wanted. Like 4 or 5 years later, he comes over and he goes, "Where's my Winds of War tapes?" I'm like, dude, you've been gone for like 5 years, man. Those things are gone, bro. Like I got like Jackie Chan movies and you know, like horror movies recorded all that shit. He was like, bro. And I'm like, hey man, what can I tell you, dude? And now it's like he could probably go on Netflix and with like 7 clicks, boop, 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 Winds of War. So there it is. It's just, I'm pretty sure you and we truly appreciate this new technology.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
Truly appreciate. I remember you came over and I had a room dedicated to my VHS collection. And now, bro, this is all you fucking need right here, dude. It's like, that's all you need, man.
Dude, and remember Beta? it had VHS
Barely.
and then it had beta.
Beta
It didn't last long at all.
Beta came out first. Beta came out first, and then VHS demolished Beta because Beta was more expensive to make the tapes. It was higher quality, way better video and audio quality, but it was just more expensive to produce those. And VHS was like this really cheap, like, you know.
I think that those cost more to rent the Beta movies back then.
I don't know, but I don't think it was a difference. I don't think it was a difference in cost of renting, but maybe buying. Like if you bought a movie on Beta and a Beta deck, and having a Beta deck to play Beta movies was probably more expensive. But VCRs and VHS, and it was just like but still, you know, like for cinephiles like us, you know, like Movie Bus, we probably didn't see or hear the quality difference. And then you had Super VHS. They came out with Super VHS, which was, again, way cheaper and way more mass producible, way cheaper than Beta. And it was, apparently it was better quality, but.
And then remember Laserdisc? They came out with that.
These big ass DVDs.
I think it was in the 90s where they came out with.
I think Laserdisc was 80s.
80s or 90s?
Yeah, no, I think it was. No, I think Laserdisc lost out to VHS. Laserdisc lost out to VHS. CDs beat out audio cassettes. VHS was still good until about, I want to say 98, 99. DVDs started killing it. Killed out VHS. And then Blu-rays killed out DVDs in the 2000s. And now, if anybody has anything, you know, larger than, and now you have things the size, now you have things just the size of one VHS that are streaming boxes that you can just stream millions of titles off of. Streaming boxes are the size of one little VHS. Ooh, proof of concept right here, proof of concept. There should be like this nostalgic little streaming box in the shape of a VHS tape. But it's got that HDMI cable. It's got the, you know, the Wi-Fi signal, Wi-Fi antenna in there. Little power cord, HDMI, Wi-Fi signal. That's it. But it should be like crafted like a VHS tape.
Yeah.
Or a Beta tape, or it could be it could be crafted like two, you know, that film camera with the two reels on top. You know, cool little stylized streaming decks. That's my idea. Copyrighted. But yeah, I mean, there's a series on Hulu called Monsterland that I started. And I haven't even gotten through the first ep because it's just been so busy. But definitely going to be a lot of you know, a lot of streaming time put in maybe this weekend. Put the kid in front of Hocus Pocus. Put the kid in front of. I mean, I think it's okay if I put a 7-month-old in front of the Freddy's. He's not going to remember any of that shit. He's probably not even going to pay attention, to be honest with you.
No. Probably not. You're right about that.
Yeah, okay. That's all he does. He's almost starting to say mama, which is fantastic.
But not dada yet?
Not dada. Well, he's going like bad. So like it could go either way. But I hope he says mama first. That would make Melissa's day. He's crawling already. He's holding his own bottle now. So I took him to a pumpkin patch. I think I sent you pictures.
You sent me a few pics.
Yeah. I caught him at the most perfect moment. Everybody says, so I sent you I sent you like his really cool like model pic where he's kind of like this. Where there's this pic, he's going like this. Right? Really cute pic.
I think that you should have been on that wagon doing a photo op.
Come get your pumpkin at Homestead Farms. But
That would have been really cool. You did that.
But you know, it's funny accidents. He did this cute. So there's this picture I have of him in that pumpkin wagon. He's got this cute face like that or something like that. He's halfway in the middle of a sneeze, but but I caught him halfway through a sneeze at like that perfect moment where it looks like he's just doing like this cute like smelling the fresh air of this pumpkin patch, but really he's like that's like the beginning of this sneeze that I think and I think he got snot everywhere and we had to like leave. So hopefully with this roundtable we get Durko up in the mix.
Yeah, I'd like to see what's going on in the world of Durko.
Mickey.
In the mind of Durko.
Mickey Lefleur. Yeah.
You never know where the guy's at, man.
He's the man of a million tasks. He's the man of a million adventures. He is a
traveling man, dude.
He's a digital nomad, you know?
A digital nomad. I like that.
He's a digital nomad. He's you know, well, I don't know. You know, in my opinion, you know, we've been going back and forth with what an entrepreneur is. And in my respect, I think in toto, I think Mickey's definitely earned the title of entrepreneur at this point. You know, he's networking, he's investing, he's kind of, and say what you want, but he's been showing us proof lately that, you know, he's making all the right decisions, all the right risks. I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud of him. I mean, let's wait for him to come on. He says he's going to be on. He's got to, I mean, the fucking guy has been up since 5:30 a.m. What is it, like 10 p.m. now? This freaking guy. So when the hell does this freaking guy sleep? But no, man, I'm proud of him. I think he's doing big, great things. But listen, just like any up and coming brand podcast.
Dude, I really felt like Nicolas Cage the other day, dude. Have you
how's that?
Movie? Have you ever seen that movie, Bringing Out the Dead?
Yep.
Dude, that was me on the ambulance, dude, for 24 hours, dude, just all night long. I look like Nicolas Cage, dude. He was like, dude, he's like, fire me, dude. He goes, I'll fire you tomorrow. He was done, dude. He was cooked. The best part is when they flip that ambulance, dude.
Wasn't John Goodman his partner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes, dude. And he's like a nutbag, dude. He goes, dude, we got a shooting in progress, man. Let's go. And Vin Rhames was in it.
Vin Rhames and
Vin Rhames.
And Tom Sizemore was like another Rambo driver.
Yeah. Tom Sizemore, Vin Rhames, John Goodman, Nicolas Cage, dude. That was like an all-star cast right there, dude.
Fucking Nick Cage, man. He is, dude. Horror, dude. He did 2 must-see horrors in the last 2.5 to maybe 3 years. Mandy, which is just complete and utter insanity, filmed on camera, and then Color Out of Space, which is, you know, fucking ridiculous. I don't know if you're familiar with Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft, and like his works and his, you know, the movies that are kind of inspired. You know, it's like body gore, it's like bizarre, otherworldly creatures, and you know, like H.P. Lovecraft is kind of like, you know, the demons within the human soul, as well as these physical physical embodiments of that into like these monsters, these huge monsters. If you ever seen The Mist,
yeah,
Stephen King's The Mist,
yeah,
like
yeah,
all those creatures, you know, big and small, are very Lovecraftian. Yeah, he was also a complete and total racist and bigot, admitted, and open about it. And so there's a show on HBO called Lovecraft Country. The writer of Lovecraft Country was a fan of Lovecraft's work until he found out he was a racist and a bigot, and so wrote this series, or wrote, you know, like a spec script to pilot this series. But it's about police brutality and monsters in this 50s, maybe 50s or 60s town that is still under Jim Crow law. And it's I haven't had a chance yet to watch it, but now that we got HBO Max on Hulu, we got that HBO add-on on Hulu, I might have to watch that for the horror season as well. Lovecraft Country. So like the main casts, the protagonists are African Americans that are dealing with police brutality, police oppression, racial oppression, and apparently also Lovecraftian monsters. And like this, you know, like it, you know, like there's like a creature or a bunch of creatures manifesting in this town. So it's definitely like a unique take on H.P. Lovecraft's work. But yeah, Lovecraft, man. Like, I was a fan until I started reading some shit on this guy, and he wrote a poem. I'd rather not discuss it because I don't want to get any bad press. He wrote how do I verbalize this without, this fucking guy wrote a poem called "The Creation of the N-Word."
Mm-hmm.
And where like there's man, and then there's African Americans, which he called something else, obviously. And then and it's like, this guy was a real fucking psychotic piece of shit, as it turns out. Now, of course, some of his work, you know, inspired some of the greats like Clive Barker, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, who I highly doubt are racists. I doubt that they're racists, but this guy, just complete and total bigoted piece of shit. But some of his work's good. I mean, hey, listen, I was a fan of Hulk Hogan until he started running his mouth. So, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of celebrities that cross the line.
Yeah, there is.
You know.
Yeah.
And ruin their careers.
Well, they ruin their careers through a number of acts. I mean, you know, it's Halloween. It's Halloween season, so we can talk about the horror of man, I guess. But yeah, at least they're being exposed through their own actions. So a lot of people don't understand my point when I say that I would prefer a racist asshole to be honest about it instead of being a hypocrite about it. There was this racist piece of shit that I knew in college, right? And he was friends of friends of friends. And I knew he was a racist piece of shit. He dropped the N-word like all the time. And I think I don't know if he really, who knows if he really meant it or he was just trying to get a rise out of it. But if you're dropping it, you probably do mean it some way, shape, or form. It's ingrained in you through, like, you know, white trash genealogy. But you know, he would drop the N-word, and then he said at some point, he said later on, he told us he hooked up with, and this is his words, but he said he hooked up with a fat black female. And I just looked at this guy like, oh really? Oh really? Are you kidding me, bro? Dude, I'm never going to take you seriously again, ever. And he goes, what are you talking about? I was like, dude, you are the biggest clown. You're a joke. I don't believe in your racist rhetoric. I don't believe in it. And I disagree with you, but now you're a fucking hypocrite. Now you're the biggest fucking hypocrite I've ever met. So it's little things like that. It's like, oh, And you always got these scumbags out here like, oh, but he's one of the good ones. Like, one of the good, what are you talking about? Like, just like, that doesn't make any sense. Just don't be a racist asshole, and you'll be successful. You notice I made that too strong. You notice a lot of racist assholes, right, are broke, bitter losers. And 9 times out of 10, well, maybe not 9 times, half the time, 5 out of 10, 50% of the time, these guys really aren't losers. They just have no other explanation as to why they're losers. No, 50% of the time, they might not be racist. They just have no other excuse, and they want to blame something. They blame it on, a lot of people want to blame it on affirmative action. They want to blame it on race. They want to blame it on gender. They want to oh man, they picked her because she's a female. They picked him because he's black. They picked her because she's a black female. And it's like, they probably picked him or her over you because you fucking suck. You're garbage, dude. You're lame. You're not good at what you do. Whatever it is. Oh, but all the money is going to these people. Like, you don't have money because you don't know how to invest. You're not smart. You don't have money because you don't know how to save. You don't have money because you don't know how to spend properly. Stop blaming other people for your fucking problems.
Mm-hmm.
And that's half of them. The other half is just, that shit's taught to them by their parents, whose parents taught them, whose parents taught them, whose parents taught them. Like, that shit's like passed down like religion. And then there's others that just have no other explanation why they suck at life. Oh man, it's because they're black, or it's because they're female, or it's because they're Hispanic, or it's because they're gay. They're going to give them that extra chance. I'm like, what happened with all the chances that you had? You squandered all your chances. You squandered all your opportunities. So, like, I'm focused on me, and a lot of all these YouTube gurus, all these TikTok, motivational people. Like, the first thing out of their mouth is like, don't worry about other people. Worry about you. That's all I've ever done. And of course I'm also concerned about you and Mickey. I'm concerned about my brother. I'm concerned about my wife and kid. But it's like, Mickey's doing something different than I'm doing. I'm not worried about what Mickey's doing. He's doing something different. You do music. A lot of times I'm gonna grab you guys, bring you in front of my camera, but for some projects, I always want you guys in my projects in more than just one way. I want you guys to make music for it and be in it, so on and so forth. But it's like, I'm not concerned about how successful you guys are. I'm only concerned about like my success and bringing you into it, but I'm only concerned about like my projects and getting them off the ground. And if somebody says no to me, I'm like, okay, well, that's the worst thing they could have done was say no. That's not the end of my career. I'm going to go to somebody else. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? If I ask like 40 fucking people what they think, there's definitely going to be at least one that likes it. Not all of them are, but it's like, man, the reason why they don't like my stuff is because, because I'm white. It's like, really? I asked nothing. No, man. Like, that's just the stupidest fucking reasoning why. And I had partners that thought that I had previous partners that were black, and they were like, man, he doesn't like my shit because I'm black. I'm like, he doesn't like your shit. He doesn't like your shit because it sucks, bro. Like, learn how to write a script and take it to more than just 2 people.
Yeah, as an excuse,
It's an easy excuse.
Like, dude, I don't know, man. Work harder.
It's the easiest fucking like these kind of excuses. No, don't get me wrong. There's definitely systematic racism in this country. There's definitely systematic racism, sexism, homophobia in this country. Definitely, without a doubt. There's systematic racism, sexism, and homophobia in this country. But me as a white man, I'm not like, oh man, I'm not getting stuff because the other people are getting it. Like, no, dude. I never thought that way. That's why I'm getting shit. I'm successful because I work hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not even all that successful. I haven't even hit my plateau yet. I'm nowhere even near my peak. But the reason why I say successful is because I pay bills with it. I've got a nest egg, I've got a retirement, and I pay bills with what I do and what I love to do. So, I don't know. These cocktails are starting to hit me. So maybe we should move on to some lighthearted stuff and not get too serious, because I don't want to slip up and say something that might get misconstrued by somebody. You were bringing out the dead the other night, huh?
Yeah. The movie's a good movie, dude. Yeah, we were talking about it, me and a buddy of mine. He was like, man, when I think of, EMS, the EMS job, I think of Nicolas Cage and Bringing Out the Dead, But, dude, that was like definitely me the other night, because we ran all night long, and I just kept thinking about that movie. Like, he was done, dude. He was cooked. Because he only did it for like 5 years, though. You think that he would have been doing it for 25 years?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, at some point, man, listen, like, there's a lot of things I did. There's a lot of things I wish I did different. I wish I did military right out of high school and got my film and TV degree. Maybe might have took
like
me
later on.
Well, more strategically, it would have taken probably 8 years instead of 4.5. It would have taken 8 years to get my film degree, but through the military, having the military pay it. But dude, if I joined the military right out of high school, I would have been retired.
Yeah, same with me. If I would have stayed in, I would have been close to retirement right now.
Well, when you did start, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about right out of high school.
Yeah, because I went like a year after I graduated high school.
No, dude, had you gone right after high school, you would have been retired.
Yeah,
you would have retired last year. I would have retired 2 years ago. Right out of high school.
I mean, unless you decide to do more than that, which you can do 24 years and retire.
Well, and
I think 24 years is a max.
And it also, what is?
I think 24 years in the military is the max, depending on what rank you are. Unless you're
there's folks that did 40 straight years in the military. Like, they retire at 60. There's people that retire at 60. You don't collect retirement until like 60 or 61 or 62 or whatever. But there are people that stay in, like generals stay in at like.
Yeah, like I said, if you're an officer or something along that, but I don't know about enlisted.
No, you can be a sergeant. You can be a sergeant major at like.
Well, I know the Navy is 24 years.
Mm-hmm. All right. I mean, maybe Navy's different. I don't know.
Because I just talked to a guy, and he said he was coming up on his retirement, and I said, what's the max that you can do? And he told me 24 years is the max that he can do. Like, I don't know if it's different if you're an officer, versus enlisted, or what your rank is.
True.
I don't know like how long that you could stay in one rank.
But see, the thing is, man, if you got good conduct, you have good standing at a certain age. You don't even have to take a PT test. You don't even have to go. You don't even have to do height and weight in a PT test. But if you still have good standing through other leadership responsibilities and performance and missions and deployments and stuff like that, you as far as Army goes, anyway. I'm speaking Army wide.
Yeah, I mean that's a good concept that you brought up, because the Army. So now, what is your take on them changing the standards for the PT test? I heard it's I saw videos on YouTube, some of the evolutions that you have to accomplish. Like the push-ups were different. Mm-hmm. You had to have your arms straight out and then pull them back in and do one push-up, and then one was a 2-mile run. which was changed from 1.5 miles to 2 miles, and then you had to like do a dummy drag. With what I forget what the weight is, and then you have to do deadlifts. You have to max out on deadlifts.
Yep.
Like it's definitely changed from when I was in. All we had to do was the push-ups, sit-ups, and run 1.5 miles, and you were good.
Yep.
But
Mickey's joined the show. Welcome to the party, pal.
How's everybody doing?
good. You look dapper, man.
You look dapper Dan over here.
I'm tired as hell, man.
I'm a Dapper Dan man.
I'm on like 2 hours of sleep over here.
Well, great work, man. Great work.
Thank you.
So tell us about your adventures, man. You've been like all over like the East Coast, and tell us what's going on, man.
I just took a couple days off, man, from the daily COVID grind, and just got away for a little bit. Went up to a place called Bethel, New York. It's like upstate New York, over by where like Woodstock is, basically like the same area that Woodstock was.
Bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, there's a big festival that goes on there every year in the summer.
It's called Woodstock. Yeah.
No, it's called
Hoodstock then.
Yeah, it's called Mountain Festival.
Okay. Yeah, it was probably in that same town, so a real small town, and
Tech knows all the fests.
he's always on top of fests.
Yeah.
He's like Googling fests. Like I Google Comic-Cons. He's Googling fests.
That sounds super creepy. Is that true, Tech?
No.
Googling fests.
I just hear about stuff, man.
But you were in Bethel? Is it called Bethel?
It's called Bethel. Yeah.
Bethel.
Yeah.
So how was that?
I mean, great, considering I didn't have to. I mean, like I went out for a little bit of business, a little bit of personal. To be honest, I was looking at a end of days bunker. Something. If something doesn't go right with the elections and the apocalypse comes, I got a little off-grid, luxurious little place to hide away and make sure I get all my guns and ammo stacked up.
Dude, it looks like you're living in a bunker right now, dude.
You got to get ready for the lifestyle that we have coming up ahead. So
That's a very nice decorated bunker, Tech. What he looks like he's at an Airbnb in like Connecticut. What makes you think he's in a bunker right now?
Navy, the Navy folks.
Oh yeah, they're used to like that shit, man. When they hit dock, that's what barracks.
No,
he fucking Navy,
dude. He's in like an Air Force bunker, dude. Like living
okay, maybe Air Force.
Yeah, he gets room service in there, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you were up in Bethel.
I was up in Bethel.
Well, what was your point? What was your point there? What was going on? What can you tell us with the MyWoo thing, or network connections, business connections, whatever.
I mean, yeah, it was it's always a little bit of business involved, of course. Just going there and trying to help people out with certain health needs, but yeah, mostly networking and mostly just getting away from me a little bit, just because running hard this year, had that whole situation with the neck stress or whatever that was you guys know about. So a little health hiccup slows you down, and you just wanna like take another gear for a little bit. And so the last couple months I've been slowing down a little bit so I can kind of catch up and get ready to start running again. But
what's wrong with the neck? Tell us a little bit more about the neck, if you can.
Yeah. Oh, I just had this doctor tell me it's like a series of microtraumatic injuries. They've basically been doing too many Zoom calls or just been burning the candle, on both ends too long.
Like just sitting like a bad, yeah.
Oh, like narrow, like facing your head down too much, right? Instead of like eye level. And so apparently you do that longer. I never worked in a cubicle before. I've never been like in an office. Outside of like my first couple years out of college, I never ever got back into that environment. So I never really sat in a chair all day long like most people do. And there are real injuries associated with it, and chiropractors deal with this stuff all the time. I've never really heard of it or dealt with it, nor have I worked myself the way that I've worked myself this year during the COVID situation, just 16-hour days consecutively for like 6 months, 8 months, 10 months in a row. But yeah, it catches up to you. I think it's definitely real. The human body is a real living, thing that can go wrong.
It's an organism, man. I mean, it's like even more advanced than like a plant.
It's the most complex, yeah. And but I never had a problem. I never had a health issue ever, really. So I just, you're invincible until you're not, and then when you're not, you just realize, oh, all right, so there's this thing that's called mortality, and like it is like real. I can like, get caught up in like too much of this, too much of that. I've had a pretty, I think, balanced like terms of health, lifestyle. So this is the first time like I really overdid it on purpose, to the point of like, not keeling over, but like my neck was just not happy about it or whatever. So, but better.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about you, before you came on, and some of the updates you sent us offline. Like I'm just,
He's baffled. He's just baffled.
I'm baffled. Well, I didn't say baffled. No, I said I'm excited about, like the things that you're doing, and it's rare that you see someone that's able to like share proof. And you were sending us a lot of screen grabs with this, that, and the other thing. I didn't say baffled.
I said baffled.
Oh, you said baffled. Okay. Well, I said.
I was I just put the words in your mouth saying I'm baffled by what this guy has accomplished. I'm baffled.
Listen, but, before you came on the show, I was telling Tech, like, for the last year we were doing like entrepreneur episodes, and we were doing like, I was very critical about the title entrepreneur, and in the last I want to say 3-4 months, especially, you took advantage of this quarantine. You found a lot of opportunities to work digitally and to work remote, and like I think anybody that I know personally is qualified to take on the title entrepreneur. It's you within the last couple of months. Like I've seen you taking calculated risk, financially, traveling, networking, just branching out, cold calls. I mean, just just like the old phrase, just jump in and swim type of mentality. And I was telling Tech, like, if there is anybody that I know personally right now that can make that claim, entrepreneur, it's you. And I know you're, probably still yet a bit humble and like, no, I'm not going to accept that title just yet. But yeah, I think you can. I think you can personally take on that title.
Title or not, I just think this has been the year of uncomfortable, and the year of uncomfortable has been delightful. I mean, I really don't care to do as much of the things that I've been doing most of my life,
and there's a moment, and there's a statement of success there where if someone can say yes, I can pull back and do less, and maybe some of it's a little bit of a necessity, like with your neck and maybe other health issues. Mm-hmm. But on top of all that, if you're able to say like I can step back, like during this whole COVID, I've been able to do that. I've been able to step back and be like, listen, I've done so much, and I've built so much, and I've advanced so much, and I set something up, and I mentioned this a number of times with other guests on the show. I've set something up in such a way that I can work from home and I can relax. I can safely put stipulations on myself, like I will not go back on set until there's a vaccine, except for as a COVID compliance officer on set. But I will not fly. I'll drive to a set if it's within reasonable driving distance, or they'll cover my travel driving, and I go to that set as a COVID compliance officer, and I'll work that. If there's something within a 10-minute drive, and I feel safe on that set, I might act, or I might AD or something. That's very slim to none. But in like I was saying about you, it's like if Mickey is actually pulling back and comfortable enough to actually do less, then clearly he's successful in such a way that he feels safe in he's found his, I don't want to say comfort zone. It's like you've done that grind and you've been in that uncomfortable, constantly, clawing up that hill to where like you're maybe not peaked. Like I was telling Tech, I haven't peaked, and I don't even feel like I've plateaued, but I feel like I've reached a point where it's like I don't have to keep running full tilt boogie. I can kind of slow down and relax a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but you've been doing this for, I don't think you've really stopped. I mean, between what you got going on with, service duty and your film career, I think you've been nonstop for 2 consecutive decades now, where, I was kind of working for, the man for quite some time, you know what I mean? And you did for a little bit, but you just jumped out of that thing, jumped out of the plane, opened your parachute, and just went from the get-go. Whereas I kind of had to do all that this last year, the last probably decade and a half, I've probably done what you've done in as fast of a time as I could have done it. And yeah, it's been like the thing that I think I've always been gearing up to do, but you trust yourself to jump or you don't, and then you do or you don't. So whatever you do, you do. And then when you come out on the other end of it, I definitely feel, I know I'm not catching up, but I feel like I probably should have jumped maybe earlier, maybe, maybe taken a risk or two earlier than I've taken now. But I mean, that said, I'm pretty happy knowing that I've gotten far away from where and so I'm never going to go back to a place where, I'm very comfortable, very familiar until I've really reached some sort of peak,
Absolutely. And TechFall can attest to this. The quarantine and the COVID was pretty much like, there is no going past this wall. Right. It's like shelter in place. It's there's this wall. We all got hit by a brick wall, and it's what we do, within those boundaries. And so just recently I've been taking on the Unreal Engine and looking at CGI and it's a gaming engine, but it also offers opportunities with film, TV, animation, and that sort of deal. And then, me and TechFall last roundtable, we were talking about this whole investment thing you guys were talking about. And I shot it down real quick at first because I took what information Tech gave me, and I went to one of the ADs that I've worked with on the 80 different episodes of those crime shows that I worked on. And the number he gave me was these shows, each episode is anywhere between $15,000 to $25,000. And it's like, okay, no problem. So we hold on to that 1,000 per head. We got $3,000 and we still keep it, ultra low. I'll start looking into Unreal and seeing what I can pull off with the Unreal Engine, creating, because you've seen video games with incredible cinematics.
Yeah.
And so I can probably pull off some cinematics for the 3rd, 4th seasons. And then as we progress, if we're only talking about 1,000 per head for that whatever that next season of Sinister and Rogues is, dude, we can make that $3,000 total work for both Sinister and Rogues, set up a booth at a Comic-Con, put out flyers, put out announcements, maybe build 4 different backdrops. What is it? Like a rooftop print, alley print, street print, and I don't know, where else have they fought? Like some field, like Thor's always fighting people. It's in some random field on some random planet. So it could be like some obscure sci-fi landscape, and then rooftop, alley, and then open street, like in New York or Gotham, And so we got these 4 backdrops that we could just change up. But if we're at a Comic-Con and we got a booth, we take that $3,000. We get like a reasonable sized booth at the Comic-Con. You can do other business there. Tech can do other business there, and then the three of us have this organized. Okay, we're looking for a whole slew of cosplayers. Let's get up here, and we get them in front of that banner, and we have them do scenes, and we get a more in-depth background, and we can do like a little side project, even interview these guys, what inspires them, get them and make it worth their while, make it worth their while, interview them, do maybe like a side doc as well, a side little side series, get their information, get them some sort of back end revenue for the show, give them credit, mass promotion for every single person, and way more organized. But we can still get like this mass gross the cosplayer thing I was doing before, but there could be more financial backing, because I'm telling you,
if anything is clear, the Marvel universe has now opened up a brand new marketplace for these kinds of discussions, let alone these kinds of show ideas. Like, there's no reality television show with cosplayers. Well, why not? Why isn't there?
There you go.
Right, but there's thousands of concepts like that haven't been even test run, haven't been experimented with tried.
Yeah.
So why not? I think there's there's plenty of experimentation that can be done, and then
and so I can't appreciate I can't appreciate more your vision for taking our crime shows, and wanting to pump more bigger picture vision into the dramatic reenactments or production, or the production of it in general.
Out of its comfort zone. Literally, this is the year of uncomfortable, right?
But again, the year of uncomfortable. So it's like, okay, but the numbers I was given, $1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000.
Just a starting, point.
That's only like 1/5 of one episode of those ID crime shows that I've worked on, that I've acted in.
Right.
But we take that ultra hacked version that I was doing when you and I were fucking taking, $100 to a Comic-Con, right? And with that $100, you and I went to WinterCon with $100. We got an Airbnb, we ate, and we had full access to the whole fest. But what if we had $300? What if we had $500 per Comic-Con? What if we were able to what if we were able to get VIP? What if we were able to get a VIP booth at the New York Comic-Con and the San Diego Comic-Con? Now that's a drive, and that's a flight. And those are the two biggest fucking Comic-Cons in the US. Awesome Con's right down the street. So that's 3. And we got VIP booths for the entire time there. That's probably 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. But content's king. You know what I'm saying? And so
experimentation, though, we don't know. It's just, it hasn't been really done yet. The only thing that's been established is top of the hierarchy, which is the films, and you've got the shows that are kind of catching a little bit of of that momentum from the top. But then there's this whole underbelly of where this YouTube content or content creation begins. I have people in the store talking about monetizing videos on a daily basis, people that are just families making kids videos. There's this whole realm.
Five-year-olds unboxing toys from fucking Funko is a whole conglomerate,
but
of a YouTube new media. But I'm doing a play. So listen, I'm making a play. I'm not, well, forget the word play. I'm making a product from a given highly watched, highly viewed, highly consumed type of medium that's on ID channel, Reels, Fox, America's Most Wanted, Copycat Killers on Reels, all these ID crime shows, these crime reenactment shows. billions of people watch this shit. They air our crime shows over in EU. I was telling Tech last time that the EU's version of ID is called CI, Criminal Investigation, the CI channel. But over here it's ID, Investigation Discovery, because Discovery owns it here, but then they have like some sort of, you know, international brand called CI over there. They're airing all our shows. So the whole world watches Locked Up Abroad, America's Most Wanted, Copycat Killers. The whole fucking planet watches these shows.
Audience, right?
So this is like that production style, right? But it's just within the DC universe, within the Marvel universe. So it's that structure that people, they gobble the shit up. So work within the uncomfort. What?
They're gobbling up Discovery Channel, or are they gobbling up what you're working on today?
But the whole planet gobbles up Marvel and DC also.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I was just on a corporate gig that took place in Austria. We were on Austrian time. It was a corporate virtual conference with a bunch of Austrian, German, and British, you know, biotechs or whatever. And this was a virtual conference, and they kept making references to Star Wars and Marvel. They kept making, you know, Iron Man and Thor references, and they kept making Star Wars references. People are eating up this Disney Plus shit.
Strong brand equity for sure. But
also the whole planet is gobbling up these crime shows.
But the reason Marvel has their attention is because, you know, they probably, like, there's bad Marvel movies. There's been bad Marvel movies. Like they didn't.
There's been bad Star Wars movies.
Huh?
There's been bad Star Wars movies.
Right, but again, Star Wars is a 50-year, you know, brand. Marvel is a however 30. Like
Marvel's older than Star Wars. Marvel's been around since the 40s.
But the point is that brand equity comes from a long time of making mistakes and successes, and then
Sure. I'm totally on board with your experimentation part. I'm totally on board. I'm totally on board with the idea of experimentation.
Yeah, but you have to. It's like
but the money you're talking about is not even close to one episode of the shows they make.
But I mean, like you're starting from the premise of the CSI shows is very popular, the Marvel universe.
So
right?
three grand and three. Okay, so we got three. You look like you got something to say, Tech. What's up? You can interject.
No, I was just gonna say, like, that just would probably just go into like promotion and like I said, just getting the backdrops and like getting the table. Like I'm totally I'm totally down to do that at the Comic-Cons.
Okay, so Mickey's shooting down the whole Comic-Con thing, so he wants to do something else. I mean, okay, so you can give me $3 grand and I'll pay for Facebook ads and YouTube. You know how you pay YouTube to push your shit. Yeah. We can just dump the $3 grand into paying YouTube and Facebook and Instagram to just push the shit to an audience we haven't reached yet. We can do that. Or you want to shoot a short film with $3 grand, we can probably pull off a short film. But a short film's done completely different.
Right. But
I've already got 15 episodes. I've already got like 20 episodes just for DC and 20 episodes for Marvel. I already have. We've already released the second seasons.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what this is what we talked about in the last roundtable. When you want to do a promo, and we can talk offline about that one promo I did talk about. That just involves the three of us. We don't have to put our secret ideas out here on this. We can talk about that offline. If you want to dump $3 grand into a promo for a show that we already have a show of, it makes no sense.
No, I agree. I don't think we want to do that. I think so. There's a couple different ways. Like you said, we could think about from splitting it up in like a marketing, budget with like Facebook ads. There's also like a whole nother project, like a refining of what we've already done and sort of either turning it up into a short film,
right,
medium a little bit, or really brainstorming and finding having a session where we really discuss what we all think is individually the best way to go forward. And then, there is no way to test it, without trying it, unfortunately.
Without experimentation. That's where that high risk investment comes in.
Right.
Where that $3,000 would come in useful is going to so like what Tech was just about to say, going to Comic-Cons with these 4 backdrops. Way more organized calling out, way more organized gathering of cosplayers, and say, hey, you two stand in front of this one backdrop number 1, and at half speed do a fight scene. Okay, cut. You sit down here, let's interview you. And we got 2 series. We're doing the dramatic reenactments for Rogues and Sinister, and then we're doing this cosplayer documentary, right? Yeah. And then
reality TV series or something.
Right. That. And then there's a lot of opportunities that you and Tech could take advantage of just having a booth at an event, and a highly populated event. Mm-hmm. And that's number 3. Now here's the kick in the balls. No one's going to be doing shit for 3. No one's going to be doing shit
for probably a year.
For a year. So I'll take 1,000 right now, and I'll put it off into a savings account. I'll let it sit. I'm like, hey, when we're ready, when the floodgates open, and they're doing Comic-Cons like they did before, because GalaxyCon was virtual for the last year. GalaxyCon was virtual. And I think AwesomeCon was too. I mean, it sucks, but once those floodgates open, man, we can go to like the top 5 tier Comic-Cons. Some involve flights, that goes in the budget. Some involve driving, that goes in the budget. Or we could go back to my list of all those 20 Comic-Cons that are in driving distance, because content's king. If I go there and there's a bunch of really good cosplayers at these 20 different Comic-Cons, I've got a shitload of fucking footage, and I can start tagging that footage. I can start tagging all that footage, right? And it's like, fights Batman, fights Spider-Man, fights whatever the fuck. And so when it comes to the different scripts, and as we start hitting season 4, season 5, season 6, and I see within the script, I need Spider-Man. Okay, I type in that tag Spider-Man. I didn't use that shot yet. I throw that in there. It's done, man. It's like I have that content in my library to then beef up that episode and make it high quality. Because what the extent we did in prep, and the extent that we did in experimentation during production. So then when it comes to post, and I've got, Ratcatcher who fights Batman. Well, I've got all this coverage, all these different Batmans that we filmed in the last 6 months. When we took that $3,000 and we went on this whole nother circuit in 2021 or 2022, and I've got all this new Batman footage. Well, I haven't used that shot yet, so I can use that. And that sort of deal. Go ahead, Tech.
No, I think it's a great idea, man. All the ideas that we're talking about, and putting this money aside, and when the floodgates open, I'd say we just, hit the ground running, and shoot, we'd be up by season 3 by then, season 3 and 4, and then we have, more of a product to sell. And another idea that I've been thinking about is showing the show at the Comic-Cons. Like hooking up your laptop to an additional monitor so they can actually see the product that we're trying to put together. They can see the vision that we already have these episodes and these seasons already done, and they can see it at the Comic-Con. It was, oh, dude, I'm totally down. I see what you guys, I see your vision.
Tech, how many AV gigs have you worked?
More than I can count.
Do you have any idea how much a power strip would cost us at a booth? For them to drop a power strip at our booth, how much do you think that would cost us?
Probably nothing. mean, I don't know.
Like $100.
Yeah, like
It might be like $50 a day. That's how they get them. That's how they make so much fucking money. That's how I made so much money as an AV tech. These conferences, these events, these seminars, these conferences are big fucking money, dude. Let's say the way AV companies work, and I'm leaking some industry secrets here, but the way AV companies work, you buy a fucking 60-inch HD TV LED screen, right, for probably $500. They rent that out for $500 a day. Don't break. Of course, they got an insurance package, so if shit breaks, they're covered in insurance. That shit gets replaced. But if they're gonna build their warehouse with screens, lights, stands, speakers, wires, cables, they rent everything out per cost per day. So if this laptop that I bought, this MacBook cost me $1,500, how much do you think I'm going to rent this per day? $1,500. That's how AV works. We don't need that MacBook. We just want an MSI. Hey, no problem, dude. The MSI cost me $500. That's $500 a day. It's a 3-day event. These are corporations or Comic-Cons. So if they're going to drop that, so a surge protector, you're gonna go to Best Buy and buy a decent surge protector at like $10. So it might be like $10 a day to rent it.
mm-hmm.
But if we're at New York Comic-Con the whole time, that's $50.
Yeah, but what if you're bringing your own gear?
We can do that. We still got to get
that.
But we still got to get power. We still got to get power. So then they might have to drop just a cable. They're just going to drop us a fucking Edison. Your standard extension cord. It's called an Edison. If they're gonna drop us an Edison, that's still probably going to be like, they're giving us power. They have to pay a power bill. Do you have any idea how much a fucking power bill for an event is, bro? That's got to be like $1,200 a day, that power bill. You've done AV events, man. And Mickey, man, we were at WinterCon. That whole fucking room we were in, you remember that whole show that was on the stage? You remember all those different booths we went to?
Yeah.
When we were on that outdoor deck with all those cosplayers,
Mm-hmm.
all that fucking electricity, that power bill has got to be like $1,500 a day.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So all the exhibitors are paying that. Everybody buying a ticket is paying that. There's money's going in just to the house. Whatever that house is, if it's the Marriott Marquis, if it's the Washington.
Yeah, I think we had like 50 AV workers on one gig. It was ridiculous. Because they were loaning out to different companies. Like it was huge. It was like
bro,
a 3 or 4 day event.
Bro, I did Microsoft. I did Microsoft at the Washington Convention Center like maybe a year or two ago. And I was paid 1.5 times my normal day rate because it's a huge fucking event. And it was still only a 10-hour day. And we actually wrapped early that day, most days. And all I was doing was sitting there running this fucking audio board. But there was so much money jacked into it. And it was such a huge client. We actually got what general DC AV, it was like 1.5 times the normal day rate. I don't want to put my day rates out there on this, but it was 1.5 times my day rate. The wife was like, go do it. I'll deal. Go do it. It was a sick fucking day rate. And all I did was run an analog audio board, 16-channel audio board. Up and slide this, equalize this a little bit. Ride this level, ride that level.
Man, you got to put some delays on there, man.
I didn't put any delays on
Come on, man. You know,
this is corporate. This is corporate.
I got to put a delay on everything.
So, I don't know how we got off on that fucking tangent, but Listen, guys.
But we're just talking about renting equipment to see how much everything was going to cost.
I get that, and it's like you guys are thinking like, okay, if we each put in $1,000, that's $3,000 to shoot something. I like that idea.
We got to try everything that we think we should.
I like that idea, but there's so much cooler shit we could do without even spending a dime.
Let's talk about it. It doesn't have to be a spending game.
Well, as far as that one promo that I think I talked to you about offline already, we'll talk more in depth about that offline because I don't want to put my idea out there just yet. I want people to just see, the final cut. But it's the Dunzos. Oh, it's the Dunzos.
What's that? What's that? Pop vodka?
Gilby's.
Gilby's.
That's a really good $10. What is the size of this actually? I won't even say.
I know it's more than a fifth.
It's more?
I think this is like the plastic. It's like the plastic handle. It's not a fifth, man. It's more than a fifth.
So I just said it's more than a fifth.
It's 1.75 liters.
It'll definitely get you hungover.
If I did the whole thing, yeah. I'd be in a hospital if I did the whole thing.
You'd be all right.
You'd be all right. All right.
You'd be all right.
Take TECHFALL's word for it.
You'd be all right.
So Mickey, me and Tech, we were talking. It's Halloween, man. It's October. I know you're very disciplined. I know you're very self-deprecating. I know you're very disciplined, but I know you watched something.
I love Halloween, man. What are you talking about?
I know you watched at least something. One thing.
Oh. Have y'all? It's already it's like the first week. You already watched October.
Fuck yeah, dude! I have Shudder. I have the streaming service Shudder. So I just and then Hulu always has Huluween. So.
Like what I watch is doubling my investment portfolio. So I don't know.
Okay, so have you watched any horror or psychological thrillers?
I really haven't treated October like that just yet.
It's only the first week.
He's gonna make October his bitch. His financial bitch. It's a good month, man. It's a really good month.
I mean, yeah, man. Money's just. But
he's been watching Boiler Room. That's it.
Over and over and over again.
I don't need to. It's like Boiler Room, but COVID version. The COVID Boiler Room is my life right now.
The COVID Boiler Room.
Yeah, man.
Hey, listen. The scariest fucking movie you'll watch, and it's still the scariest new movie. The Blair Witch is terrifying. Shining's pretty good. The Babadook. And I think you can find The Babadook on Netflix if you have Netflix. The Babadook is utterly terrifying. I watched it just recently. The wife didn't even want to finish it. I showed it to my mom. It disturbed my mom. The first time I watched this movie, The Babadook, was when I was deployed in Kuwait. Me and a buddy of mine, we were in.
Was that a foreign film?
I think it's Australian.
Okay, because there was one movie on Netflix that was a horror movie, and it was a foreign film.
What's it called?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's no help to this discussion whatsoever.
It was in Spanish. I don't know.
It's in Spanish? Then wait.
The whole joint was in Spanish.
I don't think that's it. So no, the Babadook, they're Australian or British. I'm pretty sure it's an Australian production. Me and a buddy of mine in Kuwait, we were in this tactical vehicle.
A buddy of mine.
My battle buddy.
A buddy of mine.
My partner, we were
Hey buddy.
We were on post, and it was a dead night. And so I had my iPad. I was like, we should watch this movie because there's some good reviews about it.
Reviews.
There's some good reviews about it. And so it took us all fucking night, dude. We were on a 12-hour shift, and it took us 12 hours to finish it. It was so scary. We had to pause it, put it away, do something else. okay, you want to try to finish it? Yeah, dude. And we hit play, and like 10 minutes later, like, fuck this movie, dude. It's so, dude, this is the most terrifying. It's the most terrifying recent movie. If you thought Blair Witch was scary, if you thought Shining was scary, what was another one? Exorcist. Everyone's like, oh, The Exorcist was horrifying. Blair Witch was horrifying. The Shining was horrifying. Dude, the Babadook is utterly terrifying.
I gotta look that one up. The Babadook.
The Babadook came out in 2014. We watched it when just when it came out, but and listen, Stranger Things is pretty good. Like, and the Saw series. I mean, you got the whole Conjuring universe now to like. There's so many huge universes now to just binge watch. You've, Mickey, you missed me and Tech talking about the Friday the 13th and the Jasons, and of course during Halloween. What else? You got the whole Halloween series, which is really frustrating to me. And I don't know if I want to get into it on this roundtable. But then you got the Conjuring. You got the Jigsaws, the Saw movies. You got
Oh yeah.
I think there's a whole show called Supernatural, which is like pretty good. Everyone keeps talking about the show Supernatural, but I don't know. Big thing, like the big thing is like heroines, female heroes, heroines in Tech. We're not talking about heroin, Tech. We're not talking about the drug.
I know what you're talking about, man.
But
do it.
But that's the big thing. There's this movie called Revenge, and it's like a couple of guys try to kill this girl out in the middle of the desert, and like she like goes after them, super gangster wise, and like starts just tearing these dudes apart. I haven't seen it. There's a lot of buzz about it.
Yeah, it's got 4 seasons right now.
What does?
Revenge.
You're not talking. You talking about the show with You talking about the show? No, I'm talking about a movie. It's an independent movie called Revenge.
Okay, then we're
not the show.
Okay,
not the
yeah,
show.
because there is a show called Revenge.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to Google it.
It's a movie, and it's a desert. It's one of those desert horror movies where like, oh, what else is a really good movie? What the hell is the name of this movie? You would not believe Josh Duhamel. You know who Josh Duhamel is?
Josh Duhamel.
He was the main human white guy in Transformers. Tyrese Gibson and then the white guy, Josh Duhamel. He did. I think he dated. Yeah. I think he dated or was engaged to Fergie. He did this movie. What the hell is this name of this movie? Oh, dude, he did this movie. It was so good. It was like such a great psychological thriller. Him and his buddy. It reminded of us, but if we went down like a bad rabbit hole. Scenic Route. He did this movie called Scenic Route, and it's like him and his buddy, they break down on the side of the road, and they start like, getting into each other's shit about like personal stuff, and it just goes deeper and darker than that, man. It's a Scenic Route with Josh Duhamel. It's a good one. That's a joint right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks pretty vicious, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's only because what happened to him. I don't want to spoil it. So not much happened. Not much happened there. But yeah, that's a good one, man. What you working on there, Mickey?
This is some crazy. People are starting to put out like video premieres and stuff on Facebook, and I think no one's really, productions are all shut down. Everybody's just started to talk about it, like in the financial world. But like, I think people are starting to think about bringing productions back, you know, in the winter. I don't think everyone's going to shut down in the winter.
No, they're definitely bringing productions back, man. And that's why they have the COVID compliance officer, and productions are like basically splitting cast and crew in half. You know, whatever you had in mind for a productions, it's cut in half.
I mean, everything is kind of cut in half.
Skeleton crew.
No one's working like the way, like everything is. That's the thing, is like money's not moving in the same way, and like work is not moving in the same way.
True.
But like somewhere, somehow, people are still going to be putting out stuff in the way that they talk about it in the best way that they can. But someone's going to figure out how to do it comparable or better than what they were doing before COVID started. Whoever or whatever, or those group of people that start doing that are going to get slightly ahead of the people who are going to wait a whole year to start back up again.
But
You know?
those successful are those that are going to start experimenting. Like we talked, man. You know, like we talked about, like me and TECHFALL were talking about last 2 roundtables ago. And, you know, what we start talking about now is the Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine is probably going to take over production. The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, the Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, they used Unreal Engine, and they had a whole warehouse lined up with LED screens. And TECHFALL is familiar with, you know, building LED screens, because that's what all he did with AV. You remember that one big gig you were talking about that one time? Like you set up like 80 LED screens or something?
Yeah, dude, it was crazy, bro. Like that was the first time I did that gig, and like I had no idea what I was doing until like I learned. It was like on the job training.
Yes, it is.
And,
that's the beauty of AV, dude.
They brought all these cases out, and I was like, you know, because really in the AV world, you don't know exactly. Like they call you up for a gig. You know, you basically tell them your qualifications, and they give you the gig. Say you're.
Are you experienced with video? I am experienced with video.
Yeah,
okay,
so,
come on over.
Yeah, so they put you in an L2 or A2.
Yep.
Or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
Whatever your job description is that they give you. Like I've worked on a set. They're like, hey, can you do carpentry work? I was like, yeah, sure. I've done that. And so I was a carpenter for 12 hours on a gig. That's all I did was I built the sets.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they had me as a L2, you know, like reading the grids and stuff like that, reading the charts and figuring out where all the lights go, and then being a A2, doing all the audio work and setting up all the speakers. So I did that gig that was setting up that big giant LED screen, you know. So
yeah.
I basically learned everything like on the fly, and we put that thing together, and it was just like, it was super cool, like, because I never did that before. And it was like probably, I don't even know how tall this thing was, probably, I want to say probably 60 feet high. It was massive, and they just hooked up to a laptop to it, and then that's how they hooked it up.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one gig I had. It was for the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour came to Potomac, and I had to assemble, I think it was a 30 by 60 panels.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was panels,
and we had
that you clip in, right?
Yeah,
you clip them all in.
Yep.
And then you just jump from one cable to another, you know, and pigtail it all the way up.
Pigtailing it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we did.
And at the PGA Tour, man, it was that, and then, and so we had to hang the mount, and then we just started attaching the panels,
and then you got to make sure that everything's leveled, and then you got to.
That's how they're shooting Star Wars now.
Yeah, like if that thing is not leveled right, it's gonna be jacked up. If one of those panels are off a little bit,
it's gonna snap.
It's gonna be bad.
Yep. I mean, it's snapped before. It almost snapped on us, but we found a fix, and we caught it, and so on and so forth. But it was it was unique to say the least. But like, that's, instead of having a warehouse, okay, that is painted green, they now have a warehouse that is LED screens from top to bottom, and the ceiling, and it's and they're all hooked to a laptop, or probably not a laptop, probably like this big fucking tower, computer tower, and it's got Unreal Engine on it. And they say like, okay, where are we? Planet Naboo. Okay, type that shit in. Asgard. Type that shit in, and they have Asgard built in Unreal Engine, this gaming engine. You know, in the software they have Asgard built, and then Chris Hemsworth just steps on the warehouse, and they have a physical ground. It's a practical physical ground, but they might have like some tracking beads that the cameras are tracking, and the cameras are plugged into the tower also. And so when this guy moves around, the screens are doing something different. So when Chris Hemsworth playing Thor is moving around, the screens are reacting to that and doing something audacious to that environment. And that's the new green screen. And that actually gets filmed. So it's extremely expensive to build that warehouse, but once it's built, that alleviates CGI by 90%. And so Unreal Engine is the way to go. And so now people are looking at like, okay, so how are we going to work within COVID? How are we going to work within quarantine? Hey, no problem, man. We're going to do a whole bunch of fucking motion capture, because Mickey could stand against that white wall in that room. TECHFALL could stand against that white wall in the room. You could stand there and you could read your script, memorize your script, and like, start, throwing up fists and getting ready to fight, and like maybe throw, like some punches or whatever and some kicks, and do your lines, and you film it on your iPhone. You send it to me, and I plug it into Unreal, and Don does the same thing. I plug it into Unreal. I do a bunch of stuff. I plug it in Unreal, and I can make a fucking CGI Pixar Toy Story type of, short film out of that. And then if your dialogue sucks, then you get on your iPhone again with your little, the little earpiece, and you redo your lines. You record a voiceover. You send it to me in an MP3. I plug it in, and now everything's ready to go. It's voiceover work. It's Unreal Engine work. And it's like up against a screen for body. It's for motion and facial capture. That's what it's going to be for the next year.
You gotta break this down. Like, show us, like, me and Tech, more of what this Unreal Engine stuff is, because it's still foreign, I'm sure, for me on my Tech, but it's still pretty, abstract. But if
sure, I'll show it to you right in Izzy's.
Yeah, see something.
Yeah. All right. So I want to no. So you see what he's doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can do that right now?
I can do that right now, yeah.
Yeah, we should do some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's affirmative.
So this guy is like doing, and so he's got an app that ties into live. He's got an app that ties into Unreal Engine Live. Gotcha. And then you just record that.
Yeah, that's probably the future, and ways we don't understand right now, especially what happens after COVID, what comes out of COVID. People are probably going to start using this a lot more. Because
this is what motherfuckers are doing right now. This guy just did this, I think, in August. This guy did this in quarantine. This was done August 6, 2020.
And look, it's got a lot of engagement. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not the point. The point is what he's doing, a tutorial video. Yes, that's got a lot of engagement.
I'm saying,
but look what he can produce.
Right. the medium,
as far as this video game or this CGI animation.
Medium isn't obscure and like not relevant. It's relevant, is what I'm saying about the engagement. Like people are trying to create more content with this in it. Is what I'm seeing based on that.
So like he's just doing all this stuff, and the program's reading him, and like he could he could put on a decent lav. So
yeah.
All right. So it's
time to get a little crazy with it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And that's available for anybody. Anybody could sort of do that and access that. It's no special.
Yeah. So I can do that right now. Yeah.
There you go.
So I can do that right now. It's all a matter of time, because I got the wife and the kids. So with what free time, I'm writing scripts. I'm experimenting with Unreal.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take Unreal and start using Unreal to produce the dramatic reenactments.
Oh, okay. Interesting. You never know. Like, well, yeah. I just think that the more we explore, the more we're gonna find. Oh, some surprise. This actually seems.
Sure.
So
Like this works better. This works better for pennies on the dollar.
I mean, I know you focus on the budget thing so much, but like, if something is good and new and it happens to not be
True.
High rate, like there's.
And not to be quick to cut you off, but you're not giving me financial numbers that match what the true big picture productions are doing.
Right, but I'm sort of championing what you're always talking about is if there are tools in the internet like that, the Unreal Engine, and you find crafty ways of just using that and splicing it in, somebody will get away with doing something really, really cheap in a high budget way within a high, budget production, and he will have come up with something like this before then and saw that it worked and then refined it in that larger production. So I'm saying we could find something now, right? Like we experiment and try to just explore what may work with a combined storyline, maybe a short film sort of thing with some Unreal, whatever the case is, and then figure out something that like could really ramp it up quality wise with just a slight investment, but then offset the cost of it with something that really does work and is creative that nobody's really doing it and using like a new technology for in a way that's never been done, right? Because it's so cheap to use right now. It's free, right? So.
Dude, it's and there's listen. After a whole slew of previous guests on this show, on this podcast, have said, listen, there's a whole plethora of information out there. For the last 20 years, there's been a whole plethora of information on Google, Yahoo, Wikipedia, YouTube. For the last 10 years, people have been using YouTube as tutorials and how-tos.
Yeah.
In the last 5 years, there have been sites like Envato Elements, Motion Masters, whatever the sites are, that they have free templates, free projects already created. So I want to create two superheroes fighting in a video game and make a cinematic out of that.
That's money.
There's a shitload of people that have already done that and offered that for free on a bunch of sites where you can download that.
Yeah.
And start with the template that they made.
Right.
As a project file. There's project files to download as templates. You remember you remember last Halloween in New Orleans? I did that whole skull, that whole Halloween intro for Zombie Squad, all of October.
Mm-hmm.
That was the After Effects. That was the After Effects template I downloaded off of Envato Elements. I changed the skull to the DOP logo. I changed the font to our font. I changed, a bunch of other text. I changed the music. I changed this and that and the other thing. I don't know After Effects enough to start from just node 1. I start with like the first node and start fucking with shit. But I downloaded a template and I was able to alter the template, change colors, change font, change music, change mood, change speed, add my logo. There was a skull in it and I changed it to the DOP logo.
So like so many ways, man. There's so many ways. I think really it's just a matter of creativity.
Yeah, I gotta take it. I gotta take a leak. You two talk while I go do that.
I like that, Tech.
But what do you think, Tech?
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, man. That whole I just looked up that the Unreal thing that you were talking about, and yeah, it looks pretty dope.
Yeah, I think
the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, I think I'm only familiar with it because of video games.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it looks pretty cool. I'm not really familiar with Unreal Engine, but just what he showed me, and I'm on the website right now, and it looks pretty badass.
So it's the most advanced 3D creation tool. Looks like you can make car commercials, like they have templates for like existing. Yeah, this seems like I don't really know what the heck it is. It's obviously Epic Games related, Unreal Engine. I've heard of it, but I'm just so not into this sort of stuff at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Glenn will have to get us up to speed on this one.
Which is
what's been up with you, man? Really hear about you.
Just working and grinding out, making a couple tracks here and there. That's pretty much what's going on.
A little bit of COVID here and there.
Yeah, what's up?
Get a little bit.
Not.
No, I'm good, man.
Can't go over to Nelson's, man. Can't go over to Nelson's.
No, we're not. Nobody's going over Nelson's, man.
25 yards.
It's all Zoom, dude. It's all Zoom, man. Everybody's birthday is on Zoom, bro.
One person.
Hey, cheers,
one person
man.
a day. Either one person a day, or you're not coming over at all. It's all on Zoom.
Happy hour Zoom. Is that still a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Are still people doing that?
We're doing it. We're doing it right now. We're just making a fucking podcast out of it. Yes.
This is what I say,
dude. I've been listening to this one dude, man. He does like an IG live. I invited him on the show. I got no response though, and he's talking about like, man, we should start up a podcast, man. On these guys are doing it on Zoom. I was like, dude, we got 88 episodes, man. Like, what the hell? I was like, dude, just do it, man. I was like, get on Zoom, and I was messaging the group thing. I was like, dude, we've got bazillion episodes. What are we up to now? Like 88, something like that, in that ballpark.
I think
that we're talking about.
This might be like 88. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he just goes on IG Live and has like a little following that follows him. He just talks shit or talks about politics or talks about hip hop or brings some other hip hop artists on. Like, I'm like, dude, but we've been doing it, dude. So,
wow, they're selling tickets for things a year out now.
Yeah.
Right now, like put a down payment on a ticket for an event in 2020.
But what's the return policy? What's the guarantee? What's the
right? I don't know. They need to be like offering one. That's for sure.
It's
not EDC 2025. Get your tickets now. Yeah. EDC in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen in 2025. We got Diplo already booked.
Dude, they need to make those sales now to just stay in the business. And then are they going to have, it's going to be like Firefest. They're not going to have that show in 5 years. They're not even going to be a business in 5 years.
Dude, U Street Music Hall shut down in DC. They're donezo.
No, they shut down temporarily. Not out of business.
No, I heard they're done completely.
Dude, that's insane.
Dude, coronavirus won.
I know
Victory by
Virtual.
coronavirus.
Virtual. They could have gone virtual and sold tickets for like half the price. No one wants to go virtual, and that doesn't make any sense to me.
No way.
You can pull it off. Anybody doing anything, music, audio, video wise.
They did. They closed that for 10 years.
Yeah, I told you.
Oh my
They're
God.
done.
It makes no sense to me.
Dude, a lot of people are doing drive-ins. Drive-in concerts, bro. That's like the new thing.
There's a drive-in theater now that just reopened. Founders Farms just reopened the drive-in that they closed off in the 80s.
Dude, Diplo's doing a drive-in performance. Diplo.
You love that fucking guy. You were just so in love with Diplo. You were like creepily in love with Diplo, dude.
No.
Yes.
Hey. No, but a lot of people are doing drive-ins.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, because there's not.
Drive-in concerts. Like, I mean, that just seems like a good opportunity for somebody to get a DUI. Driving out of that freaking thing.
Are they broadcasting from old school radio signals? Or what
dude, you can't tell me that the cops aren't setting up shop outside of one of those things and pulling people over.
I would.
Like, he drove in here. You're obviously got to drive out of here.
You got to have that. You got to have that Donnie Darko Mickey mentality. If you're a cop and if you want to get that books, you got to go to where you know those books. You want to make a. What do they call it? You want to make that quota. You got to go to where that quota is going to catch you up on, man. Look, I'm good for the next year. I got 17 DWIs right outside Diplo's drive-by.
And you know they're going to find something in the car.
Yo.
You just came from this event. You got to be shitting me.
Yep. I'm not driving under while intoxicated. No, you're not. But I smell something. I didn't get him on a DUI. I got him on possession. Yep. Dude, I mean, U Street Music Fest should have gone fucking virtual, man.
U Street Music Hall did have a U-Haul TV live stream series where they gave local artists and all that, a platform, but like they were just living off of donations. They weren't like making money. It's a problem, even when they did. It wasn't enough.
I mean, you can't go 6 months without making a dime. Like, I'm sorry.
Expensive on U Street in DC. You know how much? Probably like the roof expense. Dude.
I mean, clubs shut down all the time. Like,
yeah, but this was like the definition of like DC that existed, no more than 10 years ago, and like it's gone now. Like this was like DC on the map.
They could have charged tickets at 50%.
10 years, man.
For virtual. They could have done that.
I mean, but Nation went from like 93 to 2007 or 2006, and they shut down. That was because
I did hear about Nation closing.
It wasn't because of.
It was because of drugs.
No, it got shut down. Then it opened back up after it got raided, and then it went on till 2006. As I went to the closing party because the stadium was being built right at that location, so they tore it down to build National Stadium.
Oh, Nationals took it over. So
yeah,
Nationals bought it. But Nationals bought it.
They leveled it.
But did they make money from Nationals buying it out?
I don't know.
Probably not much, but they probably got enough to be like.
I mean, they probably all got bought out at the time. Every place that's set on that property probably got bought out. So.
Wow. Crazy.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and close out because we're almost at the two hour mark, man. Any socials, plugs, links you want to put out there, Mickey?
Yeah, same old Patience Podcast, Instagram, Patience Podcast, Facebook, Patience Podcast on YouTube. We probably will be doing an episode here. Like we just have to. It's COVID. It's like bone dry at this point. Like it's not going away. It's going to be here for a year or more. So that and Oracle Health at on Instagram and making more content for all of these wonderful people who love health and living and their best life. I'll be making more content just to get the word out on some amazing, life-changing, health and wellness supplements. So yeah, that's my piece.
TechFall.
You can hit me up on Instagram at Zombie Squad 211. You can hit us up at www.deadonpictures.com. You can hit us up on our YouTube channel at Dead On Pictures. You can hit me up on Facebook at Zombie Squad 211. You know, that's what I got. Check out our episodes. Zombie SquadCAST. Like I said, we got about 88 episodes or so. Just drop a comment, ring the bell. You know what to do.
You know what to do. I got a plug for probably the rest of this month. Landon's Mafia. So my wife's best friend's nephew, Landon August Koya, I think he's in his second or third remission of sarcoma NOS, child pediatric cancer. So he's got a GoFundMe, links in the description, not only for what TechFall and Mickey said, but links in the description for Landon's Mafia. He's got a GoFundMe. You can buy a shirt. Proceeds go to Landon at his pediatric cancer center, or you can Venmo. There's a code for a Venmo. And then there's another link, caringbridge.org. You can read his entire backstory. I mean, he's been dealing with sarcoma from, I think, year one, since he's been one. So he's gone through a couple of remissions, and it's sad and it sucks. So Landon's Mafia, Landon August. You can buy a shirt. These proceeds will go there. You can just straight up Venmo, send some ducats over there to Landon, and look out for Landon and help him out. He's a tough kid. Every time he goes through remission, he kicks it out. So we're really fighting for him and to get him through this. It's just it's been really tough on his family, but his family's strong too. So they've been pushing through this as well. But it's a tough little kid, man, and he's kicking ass. So that's my plug for probably a while until this kid doesn't go through remission anymore. But that's it, man. TechFall, Mickey, it was a blast, man. It was a good roundtable. I love it when I have you guys on here. It's always a good 2 hours of nonsense and just jibber jabber, but it's fun nonetheless. I'm glad you guys came on. To my viewers, I hope we've earned the pleasure of your time and viewership. I know these knuckleheads haven't, so at least maybe I have. But until next time, you know what to do.